This ad break is powered by the Salina Moose Lodge 1473 Salina. It's happening for the first time ever. The Two Dads podcast is going remote and live in person. This Thursday night at Salina Moose Lodge 1473, join us for their official draft party. Come out, grab a drink, and be a part of the madness as Two Dads takes the stage and takes over your night as the NFL draft comes to the Salina Moose Lodge. Then come back Friday as Lauren Rissmiller keeps the energy going from 7 to 10. 2 nights, 1 wild weekend, Salina Moose Lodge 1473. Be there if you want to be part of something different, something unique, and something fun. Join the Salina Moose Lodge today. Hello, and welcome to the Two Dads podcast. Looking over my shoulder, episode 10. I can't even believe it. I didn't think we'd get past episode 3. I think I say that every week, but I'm Ochi Pickle. I'm your host. Some people call me Mitch. To my left, Slick Willie.
Hey, how are you, buddy?
Bill, how are you? It's good to see you, man.
I'm doing good. Just got off work a little bit ago and finished doing all the numbers from the Portland event this weekend. So really big success.
I did not expect that out of an antique mall, but antique malls be antiquing, baby. That thing was smoking hot. That thing was red hot. I mean, to be serious, we came into that event. I wasn't sure if it was going to be bumping, but the people were so nice. They encouraged us to come out. We didn't have any of the credentials like we talked about last week. So last minute, as always with me, never a dull moment. Waited till the 11th hour. Even the health board was like, you need to have this check-in by Friday or you're not going to be doing the event. So I had to drive it down to Portland to get it in there.
Yeah.
Or they were going to not let us do that. So
well, it was funny because, I mean, my father-in-law wanted to go. So, I mean, I wasn't working. I didn't make the cut this week. You know, it was they had the A squad.
We took the A squad out there this week, Bill.
So
no,
I've been a JV guy most of my life, so I stayed there in the food truck. But no, I showed up there. My father-in-law, Jeff, he wanted to try it out. He hasn't had it yet. He didn't have it last year. So showed up there, me, him, Riker, Haley. He loved it. He's like, oh my God, this stuff's incredible.
What did he order? I don't even remember what he ordered.
He did, I think he did a basic dad. No, he did the hot dad.
Oh.
He did the hot dad. So he had the hot dad. He loved it. Said how great the fries are and stuff like that. Riker had his tenders. I threw you off with the All-American Dad with the hot sauce, with the hot dad sauce.
Yeah. I remember like deliberately yelling at you like, you asshole.
You're like, I got to do so much more. I'm like, yeah,
Secret menu items from you, sir? I mean, that's,
I waited till the line died down.
No, you're right. You did it right. What'd you think of the antique mall? So I had the privilege to go in the Thursday before. So, sorry, the Friday. We were on Saturday. I went there Friday because I literally had to drive the check or they were not going to let us show up on Saturday. But I got to go walk it. Brittany was amazing. Again, she was so accommodating. She had given me full confidence that they were going to give the full force of the brand to take care of us while we were out there, which is super cool. You always hope that your partners are going to be good to you when you're out there and not just treat you as some kind of like commodity. Yeah. But it was so nice that she had there was tons of signs and stuff, and she was encouraging. But I had a chance to explore without anybody there. It was amazing, dude. It was one of the coolest, cleanest places I'd ever been to as far as antique malls go.
Yeah.
Like walking through a time capsule, and I highly encourage anyone in the surrounding area. I don't give free brand deals, you know that. Yeah. But I will say, no free ads, but I will say, if you're into antiquing and stuff, that's one of the best ones I've ever been to. It's in Portland, Indiana. It's the Wheel and Spoke Antique Mall. I highly recommend you check it. It's like a time capsule, but it's like Grandpa's house, but it's clean.
Yeah, it doesn't smell like Grandpa and Grandpa's house.
Cat piss. And
we started walking through there. We walked straight in. We went left, right? We thought that was everything. So we went through, and you go up and down 6 to 10 different aisles, right? And you're seeing
it's
all
like a Costco. They have the arrows on the floor. Yeah, they're like, you will go this way, old people.
Yeah, here's the flow lane. So they saw everything, and it was cool because like each different section had like a vendor, right? So like if it was your vendor, they'd be like, hey, can we do anything for you? So I was thinking it's this big, massive, like they own it all. No, they had vendors inside there for different sections.
I learned the same thing. That's why I felt really good about the event. If you had 30 vendors coming in with 30 networks of people push, like, hey, come support me at this big mall, blah, blah, blah. And we were the only food source. That doesn't hurt at all to be the only source of food in the, in the area for the next like 5 or 6 hours. So that was cool. I picked up a few things. Did you buy anything? I'll ask you first before we get to mine.
I was pumped that you brought the baseball cards today because I bought about 8 to 10 packs of those, and then I came home and I had a big headache, so I took a nap. And then by the time I woke up, Riker had everything open and cracked open. I was like, awesome. Well, I'm glad you...
He unpacked 8 without you?
8. I was sleeping. And
get rid of the kid. I mean, at that point... I
didn't want to wake you up.
I'm sure people get rid of kids for less, but 8 packs... What year was it? Do you remember? Is it 91, 89?
I don't remember.
Well, I happened to go in there, all right, and I thought, look at these packs. These are cool. They're from the 80s and 90s, and I just bought the whole box. I didn't care. I'm spilling stuff everywhere, but I bought the whole thing. So I thought it'd be fun to unpack one.
There's gum in here.
There is gum in that one. You got to eat it.
1988.
You got to eat the gum.
I'm Major League Baseball.
I'll go in with
the real
you.
one.
Let's
All
go.
right,
We
both
we're
do
gonna
one.
do-
We both eat the gum.
Yeah, let's go in. So this might be a new thing. Let's just
We'll
for those
vote
that
on
are
who has the best overall card.
for those that are listening right now. We're unpacking 1988 baseball cards with gum in them.
just dried to the card.
Dude, I'm going it. I can't even get it off
I
the
was gonna
card.
say I might.
Oh,
Sorry,
okay,
Lance
all right.
Parrish. I gotta
All
bend
right.
you.
This is like if you can hear it from the mic. I'm just like it's just ASMR. It's here we go. Oh my god.
It's just talk.
It's
That's terrible.
one of the worst. It tastes like 1988, dude. It tastes like
It's
absolute
terrible.
dude. I gotta spit it out. Are you gonna go in?
I'll just chase it.
There's nothing like. This is awful. I hope our editor clips it. I need a drink.
It might taste like just Pepto
It
Bismol.
feels like it
tablets.
looked like a wall in like an abandoned building. All right. Who was on the back of that card? Oh, it's a Ken Griffey Jr. rookie card. Just kidding.
I'm gonna rip through some of these, and I'm gonna get the best one. So far, I got Don Mattingly. That's my best one, and this is just a great name, Mike Boddicker.
That's a good one.
What a great name! Terrible baseball player. Ooh, Oral Hershiser.
An Alan Trammell All-Star card.
Danny Cox. So I had
That's awesome. Let's go, Danny. Dude,
Andre Dawson.
Hey, we got a Pat Pizzillo.
Nice looking card
Look at
there.
this little Reds card right there.
Wow, there we go.
Let's go Reds.
So I got Don Mattingly and Oral Hershiser, my two best cards.
Oh my god, I can still taste the freaking gum. Why did I think that was a good bit? Billy Bean, classic. Shout out to Moneyball.
Yeah.
Billy Bean, we like that one. That's pretty good. Fred Lynn, Wally Joyner, Ed Hearn.
I love these old ones that have like fun facts on the back. Like
Yeah.
on June 23rd, Mike Bell did 2 grand slams in the first game. Like, yeah, you couldn't just look this up on Google back in the day.
No, you would need these fun facts. That's
Yeah.
incredible.
Where'd
So
you learn
anyway,
all those questions? So yeah,
thought-
that was awesome.
Yeah, I thought we would. Let's do Sans gum next time. I don't want any of that gum, dude. It's stuck in my tooth. It tastes absolutely trashy, and I have yet to go on and continue this podcast. It was sort of like probably what asbestos might taste like, but I'm not quite sure. So if we're not here tomorrow, then we know it was
So
the
you
gum.
have two choices here. You have that gum or deal with that health inspector again.
Don't even bring her up. Why is that in the show notes? I'm not kidding.
Well, I walked up and I saw her like going through, and you were signing
Dude.
paperwork, and you were stressed. I said, "Hey,
Dude.
let's go inside. We'll come eat
You
afterwards."
know, like the organ. That's her. She came in, and so I'll be kind because I obviously don't want to ruin relationships over in Indiana. We thank you, Portland, for having us. But she wasn't the easiest to work with. It was almost a little gatekeepy. It was sort of like a test that she wanted you to fail.
right.
I say that lightly, but it's just what I was feeling. You know, when we're in Mercer County or we're in the surrounding areas, they kind of come in. They're like, Mitch, do you have your temperature gauges? Do you have this? How's the chicken? Like, they're checking it, and they do their diligence, and they check it out for 5-10 minutes. They do their job, and then they leave. They let you go on with your business. This lady was there for like 40 minutes. She was taking food out of our guys' hands, like checking temperatures, and it's like, and then she was asking me like test questions, and then she was asking me like trick questions. And yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I was a bit stressed.
Yeah.
And to answer your question, to go full circle, I'd rather eat the gum. I would absolutely rather eat 5 to 10 pieces of that. I'd rather eat the rest of the pack of that than have to go through that again. It was rigorous. It was intense. Our whole staff was nervous. Everybody was on edge. Like, I don't think somebody should come in for their job and make everyone feel on edge. You see what I'm saying?
I almost feel like you should, like, I mean, I'm new to the food industry, right? But I feel like you should have done that. Like, hey, you're going to open at 4, at 3:30. We're going to do a walkthrough with you.
Yeah, do me a solid. Come in maybe
like a half hour early.
Yeah.
That way, like, we shouldn't even be allowed to open if we don't pass. I mean, we did pass, which is a great news. So shout out Mitch.
we had no like what do you call those, like citations or anything like
Yeah.
that. We passed with flying colors. It felt like she was going to throw me off a bridge. It felt like she was going to take me out back and put a bullet in me, and it was just terrifying. But either way, I have to give a shout out to Portland, though. I will say from the bottom of our hearts, it's never easy to go in territories you're not in. Obviously, the strongest prowess, and we could probably talk to Zach about this. Like, when you go to new areas, it's always a little unnerving because the supporters, they don't know you. They don't know what dad sauce is. They don't know our menu. They don't know who we are.
They do
don't
now.
And now they do. So it's the same thing about, we're basically a traveling circus, has a lot to be exemplified as like a traveling band. But yeah, I'm glad we did it. The people were super friendly. They enjoyed the food. We all had a good time. And I'm really glad you guys came and had a good time too. I can't say enough good things about it.
Yeah, it was fun because we walked in there and I ran into you. I was actually trying to use the restroom, and Mitch was walking out of the restroom at the same time. And then he walked up, and there was a couple older ladies eating at that table which I don't know if they were really supposed to be eating it. Like there was nowhere to eat, right? That is the problem.
It's probably
sometimes.
like an antique table that's for sale, and they're like, I'm just going to eat here right now.
So sometimes, the downside of a food truck is you don't always have somewhere to sit down and eat, right? So like sometimes you're just standing there with your basket and you're eating your fries, trying to chomp on this delicious chicken sandwich that is healthy per Indiana's health inspector.
We passed.
Yeah. So... But I walk in there and there's just like two or three old ladies just sitting in this nice antique like table and chairs, and I'm like, I don't really think that's there to be eating meals.
Well, people just do whatever they want,
Yeah.
man. Like they just come in, they're like, yeah, I'm just going to use this now. What are you going to do? Kick me out? I'm old. Like I don't care.
I guess there wasn't a sign on there saying like, do not, eat here. So it's like, all right, yeah, go for it.
Yeah, why would the antique store not have a do not eat here? It's their fault, really. I mean, if you talk about taking accountability, there's that. But speaking of accountability, this was one of the best events we've done. I will say from start to finish, from A to B, we had a couple reps at the Blended Collective Co event, then we did the Shawnee event, this one being our third. It was very good. It was very good because, it helps as this sort of like a mantra, sort of a reminder to myself every week. We talk about we had my dad on last week and we talk about like things to remember. It's about the customer experience. It's about having a good product. It's about leadership. Like you said, like the coach not losing is cool. We had some of the best flow in there of the season. I mean, the guys were really riled up from start to finish. So it makes me excited. It makes me a little less nervous for the fairs that we have booked. But we're starting to get hot at the right time, and that can be dangerous in a good way, especially as we start gearing up. But anything operationally, I know we have some new things on coming down the pipe. Do you want to talk about operations real quick? Just let us know maybe things that have just come up. We've just added the schedule, maybe some of the things that are coming up with next week. I know we got some stuff at the Moose you can tease, but I'll let you take over with the operations update.
Yeah, so the big thing with the truck, I mean, there's no real big schedule updates. We're still looking to fill, April a little bit more. So if there's events in April that you guys have, we tried to get into the Cridersville Jeep Rally to no avail. I've called 5 or 6 times, and I kind of feel like a bad ex at this point. Like
they don't want us.
They don't want us. So they kicked us to the curb, but we appreciate the contacts that we reached out to get to there. We did get the Grand Lake State Park reached out to us. Mm-hmm. They want us to come out there. I didn't realize how many campers are out there. They have 200-something campers out there every weekend booked all summer.
That's crazy. I hate
And they
camping.
said they always have, or food trucks out there. Mm-hmm. So it's like it's a perfect event for
Are you
us
a
to
big
go
camper?
out there.
Do you camp a lot?
No, I live on the lake, so I just camp in my...
What a flex on these viewers. Yeah, I was going to lake house. Me? No, I'm not. Same here. I can't. I'm not a camp guy. My dad tried for all intents and purposes, but he also tried to make me the 4th generation heir to the Bull Seaman Empire, and I bypassed that real quick too. So
no, but I mean, I think like Hex Landing out there and stuff. I go out there. They have a cool little bar there by the campsite there. People playing cards, smoking cigs inside. So like, it's a great little dive bar. Shout out Hex. No free ads, but other than that, operation. I was just proud of our control of our inventory. The Shawnee event, we were a little heavy on the blended, so we had a lot of waste afterwards. This one, when I asked Mitch how many tenders come in a box, how many fries do you get out of a box, and he didn't really know. We're crunching those numbers now. We sold out on tenders. We had a little extra fries, and we had 6 sandwiches left.
Yeah.
So we were essentially completely sold out almost.
Yeah, I mean, we had a little bit of extra French fries, but that's a cost that's like hit or miss. Actually, you talked about, one of the things I want to bring up with operations is I'm trying to find ways to be more creative with different menu items as to reduce waste. Like, what did you say on the phone the other day? Like, use your waste and I don't know.
Find a way to repurpose the waste.
Yeah.
So like the fries, we had 2 buckets of fries.
2 buckets of fries, but it would be nice if we could, not a lot of side of fries were happening that day. Now that can change. A lot of festivals, fries will be just going out quick. So. Yeah. I'm not fast to make a lot of changes, but I keep thinking about these like loaded fries. I keep thinking about how easy it was. I was testing, if you guys watch the Instagram or the socials, I was testing out some of the dad sauce on the fries with like jalapenos and shredded cheese and just quick ways to elevate the dish that would make it a little bit more, I don't know, like a little more eye candy, a little bit more ways to sell those so that we don't run into that issue. And that's something we're looking to add to the menus. And again, I encourage people that listen on Spotify, Apple Music, or watching us on YouTube. Like, if you have recommendations for new menu items that might be good, now please don't ask us to add oysters or steak, a smash burger. Like, people will come. Please keep it within the confines of chicken and French fries. Yeah. But if there are creative things that you'd like to see, we're always open to new opportunities. We may or may not do it, but I would be remiss if I didn't ask the public to give us some data. And we have this opportunity to kind of speak to you through the airways or through YouTube. And yeah, if you have any ideas of how we can elevate it, please let us know. Because the feedback that came through Instagram, tons of people were like, do that. Do the fries.
That's what I mean. Let's rewind about episode 2 or 3 when you asked if you could make one dish, what would you make? And I said loaded fries, cut up some chicken chunks or tenders on theirs. But yeah, I saw Cheese commented on one of those. Got in the DMs. He says there's some cheese, jalapeno, and bacon on there. I'm thinking if we could, make the pre-cooked bacon, chop it up, sprinkle that on there. My only way is how you're going to melt the cheese, kind of, I guess. Like you kind of want it a little
fries
cheesy.
usually come out hot enough that it kind of has the process.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
true.
Like it's and nobody minds like some shredded cheese. Like if it gets slightly melty, it'll be fine. But
we're still in R&D stage. We'll get there.
Yeah. Speaking of R&D stage, we've got a big opportunity coming up at the Moose. I'm very excited about that. Our sponsors, first of all, I have to give a shout out to Brooke and Gabe. Okay. As far as sponsors go, they're S tier. There's A, B, C, D, and then you get your F, right? But they are far higher than I could have ever anticipated. They have made us, what now, today? Brooke sent us a picture of a custom yoga mat.
Yeah, they sent us that awesome banner that we're going to have.
Yeah, they made us a banner that's going to be happening at the live event.
And then they gave us this yoga mat, which has like our chicken on a moose, and then it kind of combines our logos on
Are
this
they telling
yoga
us
mat.
not to get fat? Like, I'm still trying to figure out how did the yoga, like, were they making like other yoga mats? And we're like, just make one for the boys. Like, where did yoga mat come from?
I mean, Pilates or a line maybe?
Dude, there's a skit coming with Oral. Kayla, we're coming with we're coming with the
Two Dads
Pilates yoga mat. That'd be hilarious if we just sell them to local areas. You know what I mean? Just start selling like ridiculously generic stuff to different. There's the Two Dads cup. Keep it in your restaurant. Like,
People are asking for like shirts and hats, and we're selling yoga mats and beer steins.
I like weird stuff like that. I still say that's the brand that wins. Yeah, obviously, I got a couple requests for merch and stuff, but it would be fun to come up with some of these weird topics, some of these weird concepts and things that just stand out because of the ones you remember. You know what I mean?
I'm a big fan of it. Like, you get into that little bit of merch line, and then you make it like scarce. We only made 50 of these.
Well, we'll probably only be able to make 50 because
that's true. But you either get the 20 that we're selling or they're out. We're not making them again. They're limited edition.
It is a little different than having a couple buckets of French fries left when you've got like $50 jackets and $100 yoga mats just lying around. You're just looking at dead space. But I'm up for a challenge.
Yeah. But no, we are doing the live podcast, which will be when you guys listen to this on Thursday, the 24th. For the NFL draft. So
it'll be 2 days after this comes out, right?
Yep. So you'll hear this on Tuesday, and then in 2 days on that Thursday, the 24th, the NFL draft, we'll be out at the Salina Moose doing a live podcast. So our first live podcast. They've got an awesome event where they do a drink special wheel. So each pick, say it's the first pick, and the Titans are on the clock. They spin this wheel, and they have like whether it's a free drink or $1 beers or 50-cent bombs or all these special things. So I told my boss today in a big meeting, I said, I'm putting in PTO for next Friday. She's like, for what? I said, I've got a live podcast at the Moose, and I might just sleep there.
I always want my kids around. I love spending time with my kids. I have them every other weekend. I'm kind of happy I don't have them that weekend. Like a little selfishly, I'm very excited to just like, what do you think it's going to be like? I feel like I think everything's going to go off without a hitch. These microphones, we have all the settings where you can dial them in, and they have noise gates and things and funky terms that basically mean you'll hear a little bit of the background noise, but I think we'll be able to articulate, what we're trying to say while also being able to hear because we monitor our voices in this. But I'm excited. What do you think it's going to be? I mean, I think this opens Pandora's box. You see what I'm saying? Like, we're always trying to take the podcast in different directions. Sponsors coming in, see us in this garage, we do our thing, yada, yada, yada. But at the end of the day, this does open a new territory where we could go out to the boardwalk and watch like a volleyball match or something with their leagues, or we could go out to the Moose, or we could go out to some big events that are happening maybe at some of the event centers nearby, or wherever. But I think it lets people's imagination run wild, and that's where my creativity really starts to click. It's like, could we do one in the middle of a cornfield? Could we get your boat?
You said the boat. You're like, dude, we're going to do an episode on your boat where
Why
we're
not?
just floating out on the lake.
We'll look for the hodag.
Go Lakers, baby.
Let's go, baby.
No, yeah. I mean, you said that. I'm like, yeah, no, I mean, we have power hookups on the boat, so we just attach it to the battery.
It doesn't take much. All these things are running just on nothing. You know what I mean?
So
like you could do these offline.
Yeah, we go out there. Maybe we go to Boaters Beach when like Zach or his dad are out at Boaters Beach, and we're doing a podcast out there when they're playing bands.
It's all about content. I get really nerdy about this, but I would be you would be correct in saying like a lot of these other brands are seeking this. You know how you said you're seeking the yoga mat?
Yeah.
Or even the reason we ate this absolutely disgusting Topps baseball gum from 1988. That is,
the gum's older than you.
That's dude. Yeah, I tasted what something older than me tastes like. It was like a dead body.
I'm gonna send an email to Topps for their quality control.
Let's let them know.
Yeah.
Either way, what I'm saying is everyone's looking for a new niche. They're looking for ways to do things differently. They're looking for avenues of content that doesn't have to be so far fetched and far out there. But I mean, if we can offer something that looks so bizarre but yet makes so much sense. I think it arms all these businesses with something new. I say it every time. If this were to happen in New York, nobody would bat an eye. If this were to happen in Texas, nobody would bat an eye. Los Angeles, Chicago, name a big city, any city really. You could say Columbus, like it's fine. Just because it's happening in Salina doesn't mean it can't happen in Salina. You know what I mean? Like it just happens that we have all this stuff. And fortunately, I've worked with all these stars and stuff. I can't turn it off. Like I can't come move back and then be like, yeah, let's just go back to just, doing normal social posts where you take a picture of a sandwich and put it online. Like that's not creating community. That's just a picture of a sandwich online. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the dangerous part is as I'm getting more comfortable with it.
Yeah, I know, dude. You're getting good.
That's what's kind of scary is because, I think if people know me, a lot of your friends are our friends say that they're getting to know each other, right? Like my friends are getting to know you, vice versa. Mm-hmm. I think everybody knows I have the personality to do this, and I love to do it. It was just like that, initial social anxiety of putting myself out there. We're 10 episodes in now. Mm-hmm. And I genuinely don't even think about any of the comments or the feedback. It's like, yeah, I mean, I said what I said. I enjoy it. I was honest.
I think that's the way to go.
On me.
You're getting in fights with triathlon athletes. You got a lot on your plate now. Let me ask you this, because we got just a couple minutes before Zach comes on. We're very excited. I have so many things I want to talk to him about. We went to school together. I was also a guitarist, so he inspired me.
So you guys are both in a band then?
I wished I was. I think I cobbled some people together for a couple talent shows, and that's really where it started and stopped. But they were good. They were good.
You were in the marching band.
Yeah, okay. Well, you know what? I didn't. Yes, I was. Anyway, he's a much cooler there's levels to guitar coolness. I was certainly like this alien-looking thing that just could string together some chords. But let me ask you this. We talked about doing live podcasts. Obviously, the Moose 1473. Thank you guys again for having us out the Thursday draft. If you could do one podcast live and in person somewhere, it could be anywhere. It doesn't have to be in this area. It can be literally anything. Where would you want to do a live podcast?
I'm going to do a local one because I hope it gets the reach to be reality. I think it would be awesome to somehow pair with country concert and do one out there. Just because, I know, there's local guitarists and stuff like that and bands that have played out at country concert. And then I always follow the Twitter page of Country Concert Gates or whatever it is, and it's just a bunch of drunk people falling down. Could you imagine the content you'd create if you just had this stand and people were in line and you just said, hey, we're raffling off tickets, and if you get drawn, we're going to put you on for a 10-minute segment. Just hammered drunk.
I just feel bad for our editor in post. I just feel about how many bleeps he might have to add or segments or just puking on our mics. I mean, if we can get through a 1998 Topps baseball card, I think they'll be okay too. But I think that's fun. For me, I like the middle of the lake thing on a boat. I really like cool. That was spoken out loud because of just a little bit of coming out of my personality there. I think doing something with the Reds would be fun. Obviously, you are big Reds fans. You've gone to every opening day for the last 2 million years.
They're
not quite as old as
nothing right now versus the Mariners.
Lodolo, please. Every time we talk about this, we talked about the Jackets. They started losing. You know,
hey, we don't. They're right on the cusp right now. We need
win it out.
The
baby.
Canadians to lose and us to win our next two. So big game for the Jackets tonight.
Well, I think I would like to do something near the Reds. When we got scammed. That's one other thing that we got to talk about before we go. Hold on. Hold the phone for our listeners right now because we got scammed by the Cleveland Guardians almost. I thought of the Reds, but we also have to talk about March Madness real quick. The announcements we made last week were falsified. We had two little crap heads come. I want to use a lot more choice language, but Spotify, they mark it as adult censored stuff if we do too many curse words. So I'll be kind about this. These mofos came in. Bill, tell him about it because the natural setting, default setting, allowed for an unlocked bracket, which allowed people to switch in and out.
Yeah, so you couldn't. So the default bracket, I put a story out, and I apologize. I set it up. We'll be better next year, but it did not allow for you to change your picks. Your picks were locked. However, luckily, we had a screenshot where I took a screenshot and sent it to Mitch and a viewer also. They were in essentially second. Now, if Houston would have won, they would have gotten second or whatever, but they lost, so they knew they had max points. So all of a sudden, they went from first to third. And it's like, well, how'd that happen? Well, these two guys, it was not Nate Speckman. So NT Speckman, sorry, Nate Speckman from New Bremen. It was not
Nate.
you.
Sorry about that.
It was some random guy in like Texas and then California or something. They joined late because they had such a great bracket. They really did.
Yeah, it was almost perfect. It's
Yeah.
weird. It was the 99.9 percentile.
So they just started joining all these brackets that were open so they could possibly win money. And we asked them on socials. The one guy just blocked us immediately.
Yeah, dude. He's like, yeah, I won. I'm like, really? How did you do this? And then I blocked.
Yeah,
I'm like,
and
okay,
the other
that
guy was, at least he was honest about it.
Yeah.
He really was. He owned it. He says, yeah, sorry, I joined late. I didn't know it was a prize bracket or anything like that. So we gave him $10 for honesty.
Yeah.
And then we paid everybody else out except Zach yet. So we'll pay Zach, during or after the episode today. But yeah, guys, stop trying to scam us. We'll catch you eventually.
Why is the scam thing happening over and over? First, we got a guy trying to get us out to Cleveland Guardians games scamming us. Now we got guys coming into March Madness brackets trying to scam us. I don't know what's next. I haven't found. Maybe Riker took my wallet and ordered more Fortnite Lego stuff, but that remains to be seen. But we got Zach coming up here in just a minute. We're going to bring him on. What you excited to have him? How you feeling?
Yeah, it's good. I've followed Zach's music since I met his brother Alex when I was in my early 19s or 20s. So
I heard you tripped over a drum set one time on stage.
Yeah, that happened. It wasn't my 21st birthday, but I was young. And,
I'll see if I can get Josh the picture that you sent
we
me
were
today.
at St. Mary's bowling alley. And for some reason, I used to think I was cool and would get up on stage, and then I was so drunk.
Hey, what's up, Bill Ray, baby? Dude, what a
I
flex.
tripped over the back of the drum set behind the drummer there. So we got it all set up, got back out. They were cool about it. So no harm in that. But yeah, I did steal the show for a solid 2 minutes. So there's one of my 2 minutes of fame.
And you're telling me you're not comfortable on social media. You're good on going on stage in front of people
that
blackout
picture-
drunk.
If that picture gets out, it's a tough picture, but it happened.
We're
It
going
is
to
what
get
it
it to
is.
Josh. Well, let's bring Zach out. Zach is here in studio. He's going to see Zach Rosenbeck's in the stage. Zach, how are you today?
Good, fellas. How you guys doing?
We're doing good. Actually, we have the world's best icebreaker. We just teased it before you got here. You actually, because the scammers were removed from our bracket, you actually came in second.
I saw that post. Yeah, I didn't know
Did
how
you know that?
legit
So
that
we have
was.
something
Yeah.
special. Bill, take it over for a
Okay.
second. But I got something special for Zach here that
Yeah.
we want to, we're gonna lift it up a little bit. We got to, coming on the podcast, we got to take care of you.
So you were originally fourth, and then we got the scammers, and we announced all the winners already. So even like whoever was in 45th didn't get 45th because everybody bumped up a couple spots. So you went from fourth to second for points. So for second place, we got you a briefcase of cash.
Here we go, Zach. A briefcase
All
of
right.
cash.
Yes.
Let's show that to the. We're gonna
Thank
show
you,
that to the
fellas.
audience real quick. A briefcase. I got them all ones, just so it looked a little bit more robust.
That's amazing.
There is $250 worth of ones here, Zach. 250 big ones of $1 bills here for you,
Let's
Zach.
go.
Take that home to the family.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Katie came
Yeah, don't
in,
take it anywhere else.
came in for a podcast. They paid me $250 to be on the show. I can't thank them enough.
Well, thank you guys. I didn't think there was a chance I was gonna come close to sniffing the top 5, let alone second. So.
Well, guess what?
Go
I picked
Gators.
Florida. I picked Florida, and I got 76. So that tells you how bad my front end of my bracket was. Not good. Not
Yep,
good.
yep.
But we really appreciate you being on the show, man. I have a lot that I want to get into with this because you were always someone that we wanted to bring on the show. You were 1 grade older than me, guitarist. There was always some connection for me just because you were super into music, and I think people in our area were into music as well. But I think when you play an instrument, there's a different intangible that goes into that. There's a different, there's a different kind of connection to music. And I know, Bill, you had some questions. You want to fire off the first few and jump right into it.
Big one for me was, your dad played, you were around music most of your life, obviously. So, when did music really become part of, who you are, your identity? Was there ever a moment where you're like, hey, playing with dad, I played my first event, and it's like, I love this. I want to do this for the rest of my life.
Yeah. So the old man's played since he was 14. So he's 58. So quick math, right? 44 years he's been playing. So my whole life, that's all I've known is dad playing music. But it's not necessarily something I wanted to do early on. I see some pictures from when I was little, carrying around a guitar and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But honestly, my parents threw me in piano when I was like 3rd grade. Mm-hmm. They said it helped me, with guitar if I ever wanted to do it, build some cognitive learning. I don't know.
Sure.
Which looking back on it was fine. But so 3rd to 5th grade, I played piano. I hated it. I went to a lady in Maria Stein. I was with all girls. and we'd have these get-togethers, and I'd have to go and do these, activities, and these girls make fun. Like, I'm the only guy there. I just hated it, right? We do these recitals. It was terrible. So my way out, I was like, can I just play guitar? Like, let me get out of this piano. So 6th grade rolls around. Dad bought me a guitar. I learned the basics. I really wasn't that interested, but I was just more trying to get out of playing piano. So I learned the basics in 6th grade. 7th grade rolled around and I started sports and I dropped it. Like, I didn't play it again until, really college. But backtrack
now you
a
wanted
little.
to hang out with the girls playing
Right, there you go.
See, now he gets it right.
Yeah.
So if you remember, Mitch, Freerider would always play for our proms.
Sure.
So senior year, I got up and sang for the first time, just kind of out of nowhere. I don't remember how it all started or why Dad thought I could sing, but I was like, whatever, let's give it a shot. So I sang for the first time senior year at prom. Thought it was pretty cool. The festivals that summer after we graduated, I would get up. Freerider played every festival, so I'd go and get up and sing with them. Then I went off to college, and that was kind of the end of it. And my cousin Jeff Fritz, you probably know Fritter.
Yeah.
He came to me and he played. Oh, he started probably earlier than I did, but he never stopped, and he was a phenomenal guitar player. But he came to me. He's like, "Let's start something." I was like, "Okay." So I brought my acoustic guitar to college. I kind of retaught myself the stuff that Dad already taught me. YouTube helped. That was like February of 2008, and by July, I was Fritter and I had our first gig out at Charlie Sweeterman's barn, his parents' barn. Big old bash out there that Grandpa came and stopped because Mom and Dad were out of town. So
They shut you down?
Yeah, he shut it down.
That's
We played like an hour.
That's
and
still cool.
He said no thanks. So we were.
Well, it kind of leads into my question. One of the reasons that I wanted to have you on the show too was like, I want to know what it's like to sort of ascend to that pressure. So regardless of people, regardless of the piano, regardless of the guitar, and regardless of your interest, there probably was a level of pressure, being that it's a small town, right? Like people are like, oh, well, your dad's a good guitarist, and now here he has a son who is like, shouldn't he be taking over, right? Like, my question becomes like, did you ever feel a pressure, regardless if you chose? I love that you didn't choose until you were ready for your time. To me, that speaks volumes to who you are as a man. But did you ever feel like a pressure behind the scenes, whether they said it or not, that they were like, is Zach going to take over? Is Zach going to get in this band? Like, will Zach play music? Did you ever feel that kind of like pressure from the outside in?
Maybe early on. I don't know. I never felt it from Dad or Mom, really. Like you said, they just kind of let me do it, When they were going to force me to do it, they knew that, and they probably saw it early on. Maybe they did force it a little more, but I didn't feel it from them. Maybe when I first started, outside people, I kind of worried about that a little bit, but not really. I was more or less just trying to, do the best I could with our shows, learn as much as I could, and really I was trying to impress Dad more than anything. So I didn't really care what people said. You still get every once in a while, like I'll get random people. Even now, they'll come up to me and they'll be like, "Yeah, you did a great job. You're not quite your dad's level yet."
Okay,
but just like, I'm like, I know, he's the standard, man. So if you're going to mention me at all with him, then that's cool. But so you still have that a little bit. But I don't remember really ever worrying about that. It was just kind of, we just did our thing, and he was always so supportive. He's still my number one fan. If he's not playing and I'm out and about, him and Mom are at our show. So he's been number one for me. So that's helped too. I've never felt any competition or pressure from him. So
That's beautiful.
Yeah, that was one of my other questions, kind of pressure. You kind of answered that there. So I kind of thought of one on the fly here is, you obviously have a brother and a sister, and I don't know if you have more than that, but I know those two at least.
That's it. Yep.
I don't think I've ever seen Alex play or Lee or anything like that. So, did any of those show interest? I mean, did your dad push them into music, piano, anything like that? Or was it just like you're the golden child, right?
Right. we all played piano.
Zach is the one.
So they did make everybody do that. Leah got up and sang a little bit here and there. Alex, same thing, but Alex never really showed any interest in it. I don't know if he ever actually played guitar. But no, they never really pressured them into it either. Alex, he's the one that gets the blowback from it all. Like, oh, you don't play,
the third generation.
Yeah, he's like, no, sorry, I don't play. And they're like, And sometimes they mistake him for me too, because kind of look alike. They're like, hey, great show. He's like, yeah, that wasn't me. So
I'd ride that all day.
yeah.
Because there's a local band, and I believe they're all brothers and dads, the Hammer Jockeys.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with them?
Yeah.
I think they're all related, aren't they?
Yeah, they're all,
Father, son?
yeah.
So that's what I could just picture. It's like the line of Rosenbecks, right? But because we watch the Hammer Jockeys, I go out there. I mean, they put on a hell of a show.
Yeah,
I like
they do.
watching them locally. So I think that's just cool, with the whole dad. I mean, if you don't know them, it's a dad and 4 or 5 of the boys.
Yeah, at least 4 boys, and I think their youngest sister gets up and sings with them too.
Yeah, so
just,
they put on a hell of a show. So it's just kind of cool to see that family thing because you see you guys up there. Sometimes I've seen you guys just you two up there, and then the whole band and stuff like that. So it just kind of speaks to the podcast a little bit about being dads and family is a big part of that.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's something I try not to take for granted, but I go into every show anymore and just like I need to really just focus on this playing with dad and just cherish it a little more than early on when we'd start. There's just so much you're worried about, and we got to keep things moving. Oh, we screwed this up. Like now, it doesn't matter. It's just like let's just live in the moment and have this bond that we have up here, and not everybody gets to do this, so it's pretty special. So.
It sounds special. I mean, we just had my dad on the podcast last week, so I got in this big mantra of like spending time with your dad while he's here. And not to sound like morbid or anything, but like just those moments will be something that your kids will cherish and things and stories that you can talk about. So I love that so early on you've identified how special this opportunity is because it's so much more than guitar. It's making music with your father that will last forever that you're on this earth. So I think that's beautiful. One of the things I want to do is get into your mind real quick because I just assumed that you felt this pressure or people with pressures and it's so refreshing to hear that your dad didn't put any pressure, but for people that are out there getting to play guitar or maybe even ascending to a family business, right? Like you can relate this to like people that are in a long line. Like I came from 4 generation of bull semen specialists. Like, but dad said the same thing. He's like, you do what you need to do, right? Like you be your own man. What piece of advice could you or would you give to somebody who's in similar positions that maybe feels the pressure? Is there any kind of intangibles that you just felt was it just supreme confidence? Like how'd you navigate this? Because you're making it sound easier said than done. You know what I mean? This is a full, the Goodwin's kids probably have a pressure to be coaching. Everybody kind of wants to slot it because it's easy, but is there something that you feel like deep down or like what got you there?
That's a great question. It wasn't easy by any means starting out. And I had a lot of different groups that I played with, a lot of great musicians. It took me a long time to really get comfortable. And that comes with experience. That comes with, playing a set list over and over or just practicing enough and you get a feel for crowds and how to interact with them a little bit. And I think my advice would be, learn the basic chords. If you're wanting to start out, like you said, any business, but as a musician in general, like if you're looking to play out as a soloist, you got to get a solid 30 songs that you can do. Right.
Sure. Learn the basics.
But you can almost play any song with G, C, D, and E minor.
Sure. Yeah. The 4 chord songs. This classic 4 chord songs.
Yeah. You just capo it wherever you want to play it. But I think that would, I wouldn't say I had extreme confidence early on because that does come over time. But for one, if you're looking to start a bit, you got to surround yourself with people that are successful as well. That's what helped me over the years too. I played with some phenomenal musicians. Like when we started Saul Creek, I played with Dad was my guitar player, and then my 2 cousins Jesse and Jared Ranley, who were in JR. Phenomenal, right? So I've been blessed to play with great musicians over the years, and I mean that helps. If I was playing with guys that couldn't play, I probably wouldn't be playing today.
Wow.
So you surround yourself with people that are better than you. We'll just go with that. So
that's a good. So let me get this straight. Just to back for people that are listening, learn the basics, repeat it, get good at it, try to create some kind of consistency with it, and surround yourself with good people who are there to not only push you to be better, but support you. I'm assuming.
Yeah, supportive people that you got to have good people in your corner. So
I love that.
Yeah, that's good. Which kind of brings it, full circle here. I've seen you play at a lot of events. A lot of different local venues. We just talked that, you guys went to Nashville here in April a little bit ago. If you have to pick one event that you've ever done, or it could be like a reoccurring, like, hey, I love playing Country Fest every year, whatever it is, What's your big event that you love to play, or the biggest event that you've, maybe that milestone one that you finally got to do that you've always wanted to do?
You're going to love this, but moose stock.
Let's go, baby.
Solana Moose 1473.
If you want to be a part of something different, something great.
No, seriously, the Moose every year is one of my favorite shows, if not my favorite show. But we've been doing the WOW in Fort Recovery for a couple years now, and the way that place is taken off is just unreal. So that's got to be up there as well. This year we're playing out there. We're opening up for Craig Morgan, which is awesome.
So you can get Craig Morgan on the pod for us. We'll
I think
we'll
so,
have the
yeah.
chicken truck out there.
Yeah, we'll be out there to serve you some food if you need it.
Well,
before and after.
Bring
show.
Craig
Yeah.
over. Say, hey, we got the best chicken here. You guys got to come over, and we'll give them free
You
sandwich.
should do a podcast out there.
Let me ask you a quick follow-up
There you
question
go.
real quick, because this just popped in my head. If you had a tour rider, and for those that don't know what a tour rider is, bands go into town and they request food to be laid out before a show. They get to eat and drink and kind of just relax in the green room before they go on stage. If you had an ideal item on your tour rider, it could be a candy, it could be a food, a beverage. Is there something that you are addicted to, or a ritual, or any kind of
Guilty
candy?
pleasure,
Guilty pleasure that you would go eat before stage?
Well, I love Skittles. So.
Okay, Marshawn Lynch, be proud. There we go.
I got to do Skittles. I usually don't eat before a show, honestly. I
Talk
never
to me
do.
about the ritual real quick. Okay, what's it like? Because there's a lot of people that listen to this that will never touch a stage. They'll probably won't even touch an instrument, but let alone go in front of hundreds and maybe thousands of people at a time. What is it like pre-stage? You don't eat. Is there any ritual? Walk us through that real quick. That's fascinating.
No real ritual. I don't have an appetite before I play. It's weird, but I don't, and I don't want to be stuffed when I'm trying to sing. Burping up. I don't know. I just
burped while you said that. I'm like, oh god.
so I usually
I wouldn't know nothing about that.
yeah, but I don't play enough big shows to have a pregame ritual. Most of my shows are a little solo show at the boardwalk or full band here or there, but. When we play at the WOW, it was the real deal as far as like we had to set up a certain time. We had to be done by 11 a.m., sound checked, back there a certain time. And just, that was more of this is the big times right here. I mean, not that we're big time, but this is a big time. The people playing after us were big time. So they treated us as, you guys are going to act like this as well. So
You're still a professional.
Yeah, I think one of the cool things, just following you and your dad and Free Rider and all those other bands, you talk about pregame ritual. I feel like for me as a fan, I always see him and Steve, like you'll go up there, you'll mic check a few times, you'll play a couple chords, you got 45 minutes, you just walk back into the crowd, you grab yourself a beer, you say hi to your wife or whatever, and then you just kind of mingle with the crowd. So it's like it's kind of cool because you just that's how I kind of got to know him. It was just like, hey Zach, you want a beer? Yeah, sit down, start talking to him, and that's kind of how I got to know him a little bit. Was just beer. That's how I know everybody.
Yeah.
I drink beer with you.
Tripping over drum sets. I'm sure that's a great icebreaker. Hey, I'm the guy that tripped over the drum set.
I knew him at that point.
You said you forgot about that story.
I did.
Do you remember it now?
I do remember it now. He had, I don't know if he tripped over the drum set when he had the bucket on his head, but he was definitely walking
Billy
around
Bucket,
with
baby.
a bucket on his head for a while. That's a great memory right there.
We'll give a quick 45-second snippet for you guys. I was probably 21. I had a hat on that was like a Budweiser hat, and it was like an open canvas, and someone wrote shot tally on it. And we just started tallying shots.
Okay.
And then
Wow.
St. Mary's Bowling Alley, I got up on stage because I always felt like I could for whatever reason, and they never kicked me off. And I tripped over something, maybe my own feet, maybe a chord, and I just stumbled right over the drum set, like mid-session. Yeah, you got a
amazing.
button for it.
I don't know. Nope.
Don't know which
Nope. There it is.
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
I still don't know how to use this thing. It's terrible.
Did we stop playing? I can't. You don't know.
Yeah, no.
You're telling the shot tally guy if
Yeah.
he remembers if you
I
stop
can't remember
playing.
how bad the drums got knocked over.
I'm sure it
but-
was-
No, I think it was kind of just tripped in like a back corner a little bit and just ruffled it up, and then you
Yeah, I
guys
think
were playing quick.
I think we kept going. I'm sure.
I bet you can. You're a professional. You
Yeah,
play
we-
on stage.
yeah.
at
I
the
didn't
Well.
get booed, so I think you guys
That's
kept
good.
playing.
Everyone cheered the fat guy. No, I'm just kidding. Question for you though. We talk about your dad and yourself and that relationship as being dynamic, and you're on stage, and I've talked about this too with my dad, and has obviously asked, and people obviously ask, like coming around, like, will Izzy and Mac, my kids, be in an entrepreneur? It doesn't necessarily have to be food. What's your approach to being a dad? You said your dad was he put you in piano just to give you a little, your training wheels to see if it stuck or not. You didn't really stick till college. What's your approach to being a father right now? Obviously, you have some stuff. Do you bring them to shows? Like, are they interested in music? Like, what's your approach to being a dad? We're the Two Dads podcast. We'd be remiss not to ask, like, what's your approach as a father yourself?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm still trying to figure it out. I think
That's
most
okay
of us
too.
are,
Me
but
too,
I,
dude.
yeah.
Trust us. I'm flying by the seat of my pants.
So I have 2 kiddos. A boy Pax who's 5, going to be 5 here next month, and
Happy birthday, Pax.
my daughter Blake, who's going to be 2 in July. But as far as like influence, I haven't really pushed anything on them. He's big into Power Rangers and
Same.
dinosaurs. Yeah.
yeah, I can relate.
So as far as like, I mean, they have some play guitar, toy guitars that they mess around with. They both actually kind of sing, that just around the house, just certain things here and there, but nothing that I'm really pushing. But my approach with that is kind of what Dad did with me, and that's just kind of let them get interested on their own. Maybe put it in their lives a little bit. Here's a toy guitar. If you want to mess with it, do so.
Put them in piano.
Yeah. Well, that's true. Yeah, gosh, I'm still bitter about that.
Yeah, it sounds family trauma.
Sorry, Pax.
Let's open this one up on the Two Dads podcast.
Yeah.
It was a
If
rough
it starts
3 years.
and stops here, if it starts and stops, and the band part of your family ends with your children, would you be content with it? Would you be okay with it?
Yeah.
I love that answer. That makes me want to cry. Like, no joke. Like that. I'm so happy to have someone as well rounded as you. You're not trying to force anything. Yeah, you get. I have the same thing. Like, I'm into video games. If the kids want to go play video games, sure, it's there. If I play guitar, not to that level, but the acoustic guitars are laying around. They pick some chords. We got a piano in the house. They dabble, and I really just encourage it when it happens. If there's an organic moment where they pick it up, I'm like, hey, good job. That sounded really good.
Yeah.
But I'm not forcing anything on. So I love that. I love that you're taking that approach. And it's why I like to give you $250 worth of once.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's just for coming on. He didn't actually win. We just paid him to come on. But no, I think it's the same thing. Like, I mean, for dads, like, hey, they always ask me, like, what if Riker doesn't like sports? What if he doesn't like baseball? And I always say, I'm like, I just want him to be good. And like, whatever he wants to do, I want him to do it really well.
Yeah.
Whether that's music, whether that's, being in the band like Mitch was in high school. But it's fun because, like, he started playing football and he's got 7U quarter baseball. And he's like, will you coach me? And like, I always said I didn't want to coach my kids because I can coach them at home. I want other people to be able to coach them, to influence them so they can learn more.
Yeah.
And then through a couple of these years through, some other sports, I was like, all right, I need to have a little bit more influence on this. So now I get home and he's just like, hey, you want to throw baseballs? Like, do you want to go hit in the yard?
I
So it's
FaceTimed
like,
you yesterday and you were doing that. That's pretty
so
cool.
it's just fun that, like, I'm not pushing it on him. I'm
Yeah.
going to teach him and help him be as good as he can, but he just wants to do it himself. And I mean, that makes me happy as a pig in shit, as a dad, truthfully.
I love that. Question for you though, Zach. You've stepped us through this journey to the point where you have your own children, and like you said, if you're content and you've made peace that there is no pressure for the children, there's not even pressure on yourself much. You're just kind of going out there and enjoy it. The question I have for you is, when did you feel like this became your journey then? You said that you didn't feel any pressure from the community, but you still stepped up, and in college you decided to play, and you went on the stage, and now you're a professional. I don't care to what level. You need to speak more kindly of yourself. You're still doing something that's wicked cool. It's wicked cool that a lot of people don't. And even in this county, it's less than 1%, right? So you still have to take the statistic for where you're at. When did you feel like it became Zach's thing and no longer Steve and Zach's thing? Like, it's just like, was there a moment when you're just like, yeah, this is mine now, and I've sort of ascended, I'm sort of here, and I'm okay with it? Like, or is it still you too? Like, is it always going to be you and your dad?
Yeah, I don't know that I ever had that moment. I think the point where I finally felt really comfortable was probably somewhere in the Saw Creek, first couple years of Saw Creek.
Those were good years.
Yeah, we were, we were one of the top bands around for a little. There weren't many local bands, but when we'd go play at McSober's, you'd walk in and that place would be chock full, and that was when I finally started feeling like, okay, yeah, people really like us. Like it felt. And Dad was with me in that too, so it's always kind of been me and him.
That's cool though.
So I never had a moment where I'm like, yeah, I don't need him anymore. It's always, and he's always going to be right next. Even when I'm doing solo stuff, like I said, he's in the crowd most of the time. So it's like, and he's telling, he's never critiqued me really. Like maybe a couple things here and there as far as like, oh, you need to turn this up or turn this down. And that's what I want him to do. But as far as like playing goes or singing goes, he's never one time, I think, told me like, hey, you're singing that wrong, or you're doing, which is, I mean, that's all you could ask for. Maybe, maybe I should have had some of that early on, but I think he just, like I said, the moral of the story, he just let me go with it. He just let me do my thing and figure it out. And that's really what brought me to love it, is I figured it out. You can't force someone to do it. You get burnt out after a while. But I've never really had that. So it's,
I'm glad.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm thankful that the answer is exactly how you said it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a quick one, and then we'll get to Mitch's favorite segment here at the end, the rapid fire. You've played various sizes. I'm sure when you were newer, I'm sure you played at graduation parties, some smaller events, things like that. Is it more nerve-wracking for you to play in front of a big crowd at McSober's, 200-300 people, how many are there, or 10 to 20 people of like close friends and family that maybe in this garage, right? You're just going to play. There's 10 or 15 of us, and you're just up there. What's more nerve-wracking? Is it easier to see a crowd of faceless people, or the people that you know and love?
Give me the big crowd all day.
Yeah?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I played.
Tell them where you played too during this, because there's a lot of people that may not be familiar with your bands and
Right. So our band now is called Saul Crush. So we joined up with two guys from Nashville Crush, Dean Magnate Felke. Again, two phenomenal. Like they were the top band. They still play a little bit, so they're still one of the top bands around. But 10 years ago, they were real close to making it big. Like, so again, surrounding myself with good musicians. I played with the best. But we are so the big crowd. Back to the WoW, right? 2 years ago, even last year, I don't know how many people were out there, but 2 years ago really comes to mind. I think there might have been more last year, but there's like 8,000 to 10,000 people out there.
Jeez, we don't have enough chicken sandwiches. Dude.
We're in trouble.
It's like Jurassic Park.
and again, I don't know how many of them are up by the stage watching, but regardless, it's just the coolest feeling. And I didn't, for some reason, I wasn't nervous. It's just like, I don't know. I felt in my element. It was, give me that all day. And then I went and I played at a friend's house back in September. It's just our close friends, like 30 people out there. And I was nervous the whole time. I'm like, I don't understand. I don't know. You just, when it's a faceless crowd, you don't know anybody. You don't really care.
Right.
You just do your thing. And in my eyes too, it's like, well, maybe these people don't know me. Maybe there's somebody out there that will enjoy it and, look us up, follow us from that. You get some new followers. When it's people, you obviously you love hanging out with them and seeing everybody, but it's like they've seen you before. It's just there's not a lot of room to.
It's like a safe space. We know what you're bringing to the table.
Right.
We know you're good. We know what songs. You mix them up, because I always said we got a girl that works in the truck named Maria, right? So I immediately thought of your dad always playing Maria, all the time. Like I was like, oh, dude,
that's what you think of
100%.
Wow.
When I think Maria, that's the first thing I think of.
What influence you've had on the podcast? Look at us.
Steve plays that religiously. That's his one big thing.
Steve has songs that people probably think he wrote.
Yeah.
Because he plays them so much.
He's played them every band he's ever been in. He plays them solo. He plays them with me. He plays them our full band. It's just, those are songs like Wagon Wheel, for example, right? He brought that song back from Nashville before anybody around Mercer County knew what that song was, and he was playing it. And I think there's probably people out there that think he wrote that song. Like he's just.
Let me ask you this before we get the rapid fire question. You've given us an amazing story. I love to hear how well rounded you are. I'm so excited. I mean, your kids are in a great place. You're a good dad. You have you're playing these big shows. The question I have for you: are you still having fun?
I am. Yeah. I would not keep doing it if I wasn't having fun. Granted, it is getting tougher with two kids to leave.
Sure.
I feel like every time I leave anymore for a show, everything's just gone wrong at the house. Like kids don't want to take a bath, or they're throwing
Murphy's
fits,
Law.
and I'm like, I gotta leave, Katie. I'm so sorry.
Well, for successful guys, there's always a good wife at home too that keeps it together.
My wife's amazing. Katie does. She understands. She knows that. I mean, she's, for one, she's cool with it. She doesn't care, you know, but she knows it does something for me as far as it's a stress reliever. I just need it, you know. And if I go, I don't need to do it all the time, but about once a week is maybe that's a little too much at times, but I like to, if ideally I could go 2 weeks and then 1 week off, you know. And just
Well, it's
just
so
get
cool
that
to
fixed
see
a
that you
little
went
bit,
from apathy to complete, like, I need this a part of my life. And maybe your children adapt to that too. But we are now to the rapid fire section. This is the final part of the show. I've bought a game. I bring a game every week. This one's called Band or Bluff. Bill, you'll be playing and participating as well. Zach, are you ready?
I'm ready.
We've got about a minute on the clock before these cameras shut off on us automatically. Shout out to Canon, freaking Canon. I'm going to name a band. I'm going to name a band, and you're going to tell me if it's a real band by saying band, or you're going to say bluff if it's not a real band name.
All right.
There are no right or wrong answers to make you feel stupid, but there are right or wrong answers if they're a band or not. Are you guys ready?
Yes.
Yeah.
60 seconds on the clock. Here we go. Rainbow Kitten Surprise, band or bluff?
Bluff.
That's a band.
Damn.
The Spicy Pickles, band or bluff?
Bluff.
That's a band. Donkey Elevator.
Bluff.
That's a bluff. Bowling for Soup.
Band.
That's a band. The Amish Outlaws.
Band.
That's a band. Caramel Chainsaw.
Bluff.
That's a bluff. Of Mice and Men.
Band.
That's a band. Funk Dumpster.
Band.
Bluff.
That's a band. Polka Riot.
Bluff.
Bluff.
That's a bluff. Death Cab for Cutie.
Band.
Bluff.
That's a band. Come on, Bill. The Gravy Stains.
Bluff.
Band.
That's a bluff. King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizards.
Band.
Band.
That's a band. Lettuce Heads.
Band.
Bluff. Whale Tooth.
Bluff.
Band.
That's a band.
Yeah.
Uncle Acid and the Deadbeats.
Bluff.
That's a band. That's all the time we got here for Zach. I keep going.
Thank you,
on the
guys.
show.
Appreciate
Zach
it. Thank you.
Rosenbeck.
Thank you.
You can check him out.
You
Give him a
guys are
plug
awesome.
real quick for all the time we have left. Give him a band. The band. Anything you got? Just talk about your band. You got anything?
I'm sorry.
Give a shout out to yourself. Tell them where they can find you. Anything like that.
You can find Saul Crush on Facebook. Pretty much, that's all we got.
That's
so
cool.
check us out. You can find our schedule on there, and we got a lot of cool summer shows coming up. So
Make sure you check out Saul
Find us.
Crush. Thanks for coming on the Two Dads Podcast. It's all the time we got here. Bill Ray, anything else to say before we go?
Nope. Go Reds, baby.
thank you guys.
Go Reds.